lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
After a closely contested race at Kansas 2 weeks ago, we come now to wine country up in Northern California. It is the Sonoma Raceway for round number 3 of the Svenska Eracingligan, the hashtag Free Alex 224,210 meter here at Sonoma. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. Alongside me, my broadcast partners, Tony Trapasso and Jason Sawford. Guys, Jason, we know you weren't here last week, and thank you. I haven't said it, but thank you very much for taking over on the GT3 side these last couple of weeks. But speaking of GT3, this is the first chance that these guys have this season to take these cars on a road course. And Tony, I think it's going to be quite exciting to see what these guys can get out of these cars.
Yeah, it's already been impressive just in the practice session. You know, the fact that not a big shocker who your top 5 currently are, but you know, this is really what these cars were designed for, to be more road course friendly. You know, when we had the solid rear axles in the Gen 6s and everything before, it wasn't really indicative to what you can get out of a car on a road course. But with the independent rear suspension on these things, you know, these guys are able to really hustle these beasts around. It's heavier than a GT3. It's got a little more horsepower than a GT3, and it's got a lot less tire than a GT3. So you really got to be up on the wheel from the word go.
Yeah, exactly that you do. But as we've said, this is basically the first time we can see sort of a crossover, I think. I mean, you've got the mainly oval series going to a road course, so it's going to be interesting to see who the specialists of the car are and who the specialists of the track types are more, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Well, what if you're both?
Well, if you're both, then you're good.
Yeah, you're going to have a very good night, I would have to say. Qualifying is going on right now, but really quick, we'll take a look at the championship right now. Alexander Wegert currently sitting out in front by just 1 point over Jesper Eriksson. Linus Broström, who will not be here over the next couple of weeks. He'll be here for the next Cup race. He's in Talladega right now. Just 2 points separating the top, just 4 separating the top 4 drivers. This is what you expect to see, Jason, very early on in a season.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's going to be a pretty tough road for Linus Broström to recover from missing a race, but I've seen him do wonders before, so I'm sure he can do some great things now. But I think people's first laps are just about starting underway here.
Yes, they are still going through the point standings as they sit right now. 53 drivers have attempted to qualify for a race this season. And Tony, as we throw the team standings up now, a lot of pride in teams, especially in the European side of racing. Right now, Alcantech with their Nyman Racing team and their Almatech team right now topping the team championship by a pretty decent margin over the rest of the field.
They are, and it's kind of to be expected because a lot of those guys run in other leagues throughout the week. This one is just more time zone friendly to everybody, in that area. But week in and week out, it's names that you're going to hear across sim racing media through different series. Both Linus and Bjorn Broström, Daniel Solo, Sam Hammerstedt. You hear these names in other leagues as well, and they're always running up front. So it's not a big shocker that, the names that we're accustomed to are the names that are helping their teams the most.
As you mentioned, Sam Hammerstedt, who right now currently sits atop the pylon here for qualifying, the only man so far to dip into the 114s, a 114.71 on his first lap, as we see last week's winner, Jesper Eriksson, coming through the hairpin now to complete what would be his second qualifying lap. He'll be the first to do so.
And here's the thing about Hammerstedt, Frank. In the practice session, he was the only one to flirt with the 113s. He went a 114.000 in practice.
Yep.
Second flyer is going to be better for him.
It was better for Jesper Eriksson for sure, as he's gotten to the pole at a 114.24. Hammerstedt a 114.17. Eric Blixt, this is the first time we're seeing him on the oval side, or the quote-unquote oval side, goes
the cup
third.
side, the cup side of things. We call it the cup side of things from now on.
As Daniel Holmer crossing the line now. Well, this is something that my overlay has not done here recently. Completely break on me. As Holmer 15th on his second lap. Right now, Jason looks like Philip Bjork right now. 26th quickest on his first lap, coming through the hairpin to complete lap number 2.
Yep, let's take a look at that then. So getting decent traction out onto the start-finish, quote-unquote, straight. As he comes across, is it going to be better? It's going to be better. He's going to put him 21st. Pretty decent time set there, and I think that's going to be just about nearly everyone. We've still got a few people on laps.
The 52 still has to post a legit time. He's exceeded track limits on his first lap.
Same thing with Robert Erling and Daniel Blomqvist, who We're seeing Bloomquist right now on track. He will be the first of those three to cross the line. Erling not that far behind, as Bloomquist will cross the line now. Shoot himself all the way up to 17th. We'll see Robert Erling crossing now. The 82 will go 35th quickest. And Haflidy Johansson in the number 52 coming into the hairpin now. Should be the last one to set time. Patrick Pfeffer and Jona Force are on track right now, but they've completed both of their laps and were not able to get an eligible time in on either one. Haflidason goes up to 31st. And guys, for the first time this season, with there being only 39 drivers in the field tonight, only 39 drivers in the field tonight, we will not have a heat race for the first time this season, Tony.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that during the practice session, that it's kind of a short field for these guys, and I'm surprised at that, being as, you know, most of these guys are road course ringers. You would think that they'd jump at the chance to try to wheel these cars around the 2 mile undulating circuit that is Sonoma.
I guess we are going to have a heat race, actually, because we've just jumped into the session. So it looks as though this is going to be...
Yeah. Top 20 are locked in. The rest of the 19 are racing for their starting spots.
Oh, so there you go. So it will be. So we will have a heat race. So it will not. It'll be a heat race to determine who will start from 21st on back, not who will be eliminated from competing in this race. So we will go to the grid for that now. Tony Oivonen and Philip York will make up row number 1. Stefan Wang and Eric Lundberg will make up row 2. Kenneth Tier and Dennis Scherp in row 3. Pontus Nilsson and Marcus Stromberg will make up row number 4. Jonas Skoglund and Vilda Whalen in row number 5. Haflidy Johansson and Bat Erdine Ganbat making up row number 6, Jason.
Row 7 is going to go to Marcus Stiller and Björn Broström, with row 8 going to Anton Bratberg and Robert Erling. He was the last to set a time in qualifying. Row 9 is going to be Jonas Warsch and Philip Broberg. And then Patrick Pfeffer sits on row number 10 in 19th position. But looking at this, to be honest, I think I may well prefer to be in this race at the front rather than at the back of qualifying. The ones that have already been locked in, to be honest, for just a bit of extra practice, especially in race conditions.
Now we're in an interesting little situation here, because no one has gridded up for this race just yet. So whether or not they're waiting, so everyone at this point has missed the grid at this stage. And
we may well be skipping.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. So we may have not been entirely wrong in our estimation. As you see the pace truck going around on the racetrack right now. Unfortunately, with the SDK system, I can't isolate it. So everyone has missed the grid.
And the thing is, they are talking in the NSIM, but unfortunately,
it's Swedish.
None of us can understand exactly what's being said by the drivers and race control.
And
I don't actually know what happens when no one takes the green.
Kind of hard to click off laps, I would say. So we're all going to learn here together what is going to happen. Linus Broström in chat joining us from Talladega. Got there hopefully, obviously safely yesterday.
Slacker.
Marcus Hagman in chat as well. Daniel Solo. So apparently Daniel Solo is saying that it will not let the session skip ahead.
At
the moment. So we are in We are in a holding pattern here at Sonoma. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us, not just on the YouTube side of things, but on the Twitch side of things as well. Svenska Eracing would be the Twitch channel. I know we've done a poor job of
Promoting it?
Yeah, promoting that side of the broadcast here as this season has gone on. But there it is, down on the bottom of your screen there. Twitch.tv/Svenska Eracing is where you can watch this over on Twitch and on our YouTube channel as well. I guess what we could do is while the race has apparently gone green and they're not allowing to skip the session, we'll go over what happened last week as the GT3 guys went at it at Mount Panorama. Unfortunately, with me being on baseball duty early last Thursday, could not make the race. But guys, I guess just a quick recap of Mount Panorama last week.
From the start of the green, I mean, it was kind of obvious what was going to happen. What we thought was going to happen is basically what happened. There was a little bit of carnage at the top of the hill. That would seem to be the biggest problem, Jason, that I saw anyways, was everybody coming across the top of the hill just biffed it.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, that's what Bathurst is. You're going to have your main issue point for contact is going to be top of the hill, obviously, and then also coming through to really start the hill climb with a double left-hander, turn 3 and 4, I believe. That was
up through the
an
chase
interesting area. Yeah.
And then as an added bonus, they gave out a bonus point for anybody that tried to jump the tire wall coming through at the end of Conrad. And
well, anyone that was
successfully made it.
Got round over the line.
Yeah, you had to land on your wheels and then be able to drive it to the start-finish line to get the bonus point. And only a handful of people were able to do that successfully.
That's a nice little gimmick, I would say, to get an extra bonus point. We're just about to hit the halfway point of that season. Looking at the schedule, we have Imola coming up next Thursday. I should be there for Imola. For those of you wondering why we're just taking an overhead panorama and we're seeing a lot of people joining on the YouTube side, I'm seeing the Twitch numbers go up as well. You haven't missed anything. We have gone through the qualifying session right now, but apparently something has happened to where the session is not allowing to advance beyond the heat race. So we are in a little bit of a holding pattern here, just waiting to see what can be done to allow the session to advance to where we can get on with this 70-lap race here tonight. But again, next week will be the halfway point of the GT3 Series season. They go to Imola, a 45-minute race plus a 20-minute heat race at the beginning. Then it will be a straight hour at Sebring 3 weeks from now, Fuji International, Spa-Francorchamps, and then Watkins Glen on the boot, as I believe we have just gotten out of the heat race session, so we are now in our warm-up session. So they have figured something out, and we will now be what looks like going out for the warm-up session. Yes, it is.
Yep, and then just advancing past that, we are going to be.
I think we're going straight to the feature.
Into the race. Yep.
So there we go. Warm-up session has been advanced, so we will now get to the grid. Here for tonight's round number 3 for the Cup Series, it will be Sam Hammerstedt with a pole time of 1 minute 14.169. Taking the pole here tonight, Jesper Eriksson will sit outside of him in row number 1. Eric Blixt and Gustav Jansson will make up row number 2. Jonas Gunnarsson and Oscar Fredriksson in row 3. Michael Heflidesen and Andre Solander will make up row number 4. Peter Helmbro and Robert Eriksson in row number 5. Daniel Solo and Alexander Ardledson will make up row number 6. Tony.
Huh? Sorry. Janssen Larson and Richard Allard going to roll off in row number 7. Dan Homer and Kim Nylom going to make it row number 8. Row 9 is going to go to Daniel Boomquist and Anton Oman. Haken
Jochen Wet.
Okay, well. And Johan Hallberg, I'm going to butcher these. Starting off in row number 10. Row 11. Where the hell am I?
Tony Oivinen.
Tony Oivinen and Philip Bjork. Stefan Wang and Eric Lundberg starting in row number 12. Jason?
At row 13 is going to be Kenneth Tier and Dennis Scherp, with Pontus Nilsson and Marcus Stromberg in row 14. And rounding out the top 30 in row number 15 is going to be Jonas Skoglund and Vilde Wallin. Haflidi Johansson and Bat Erden Ganbat going to be in row number 16. Once again, if I'm pronouncing names wrong, please let me know, even though it is funny. Marcus Stiller and Björn Broström going to be in row number 17, with Anton Bratberg and Robert Erling in row 18. Row 19 is going to be Jonas Fors and Philip Broberg. With row number 20, Patrick Pfeffer gets the best view of the field.
And that is the grid here for tonight's race as we head through towards the hairpin. Really quick look at the weather conditions. 10 kilometer per hour winds just past 2:30 p.m. In sim time. 24 degree ambient temperature, 36 degree track temperature. Tony, take us away.
As the field comes out of the hairpin, the only thing that's left to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some wine and settle in wine country, because race fans, it's show time!
Right up the hill, Jesper Eriksson getting a big jump on the field. Gets clear, Sam Hammerstedt gets clear, Eric Blixt in that number 95 for Alcantech, running right there as well. Everyone getting through cleanly so far. Boy, big three wide. Boy, that was the 24 that ended up jumping the curve. That's Arledson, somebody else backwards as well. That looks like the 322 of Johan Hallberg. It is.
Yeah, you don't really want to be going 3 wide, I think, pretty much anywhere at this track.
Oh, absolutely.
Or in these cars. Definitely not both. As you can see, it didn't really work out too well, but Alex Haraldson is making a pretty decent comeback after that. He's back up to 23rd position and already looking eyes forward.
Oscar Fredriksson making an attempt to hold off Michael Heflidesen in the 81. Did not work out well for him. Side by side, Kenneth Tier in the number 49 to the left. Or pardon me, the right of, that would be Eric Lundberg in the 18. Would be for the 19th spot, as I believe Ganbat has had an off. Yes, he has. Right at the start-finish line.
It was towed.
We'll see what happened with these guys in just a moment. Blixt at the front with Gustav Jansson, pardon me. Alcantech at 4 is really taking control of this race here early.
Well, yeah, we've seen Alcantech, the top team in the Next Gen side of things, and obviously Force Esports, the pretty much a dominating factor in the GT3 side, so come to a road course, and it's not surprising to see those guys up at the front. But what is slightly surprising is to not see Sam Hammerstedt up in the lead. I mean, he didn't get the best of jumps at the start.
Certainly did not, as the 24 of Alexander Arlidsson, or Arildsson, pardon me, trying to make a drive back after his opening start. Jochen Huet and Anton Ehrmann battling up the hill. That would be for 15th position. I believe Johan Hallberg has had another moment. We'll go back and take a look at everything that happened at the start here in just a moment. Take a look back. This is that incident going into turn 4, the 24 of Arildsson trying to go 3 wide, and that looked like Daniel Solo just didn't have the room, jumped over that curb, Tony, and also there's the 322 around backwards in your picture.
I'm not sure whether Tony's with us.
I was going to say, I think Hallberg just got clipped by the 044 on that curb there. Robert Eriksson also having a moment. Oh, that was part of the initial. Ooh. Ended up hitting that wall extension there. See what happened to Ganbad as he crossed the line. Battling with the 117 of Philip Broberg. Looks like he just lost the back end. Coming through that little kink there. Tony Oivinen has had an off.
There's a moment for Jonas Fort as well.
Yeah, we'll go into that here in just a second. Here it comes. Jonas Force at the top of the turn 1 and 2 hill. Just takes turn 2 a little bit too aggressively. And back onto track as we get back to live picture. Jesper Eriksson right now holding a 1.2 second lead over Sam Hammerstedt. Eric Blix there as well. Eriksson just setting the fastest lap of the race at a 1:14.06 that time through.
That's picking him up and putting him down.
Yeah, quicker than anything we've seen in qualifying, as that's not good for Anton Bratberg. Just running wide, and into the pits he goes as well.
There's Anton Bradberg in the 111. Side by side, just outside the top 10, or close racing just outside the top 10 between Kim Nyholm and Daniel Blomqvist. Blomqvist in the 487, Nyholm in the 58. And Tony, we're seeing, if anything right now, we're seeing what you can do with a run around this racetrack and where you need to put these cars in order to have that run that you need in order to make a pass.
Yeah, you kind of have to set up any moves you're planning on making at least a lap early. Because the biggest place to make a pass is where they're coming up to right now, coming into that hairpin that marks where pit road starts. That's where we see a lot of passing done. And the other place is, oh my!
That's Daniel Blomqvist. Get to it in just a second. Here,
and
there he is.
Wear. Yeah, it was contact between teammates as I think Håkan Hurt was going quite defensive there from Anton Ehrmann behind, and then just smashed into his teammate as a result.
It's the replay of it. Blomqvist, we just saw these guys battling. But getting in just a little bit too hot.
If it was anybody but his teammate, I would have said, yeah, go for it. But it's the first rule of racing. Don't kill your teammate.
24 of Arildsson now coming under fire from Blomqvist. Marcus Stiller has also had an off. That's at the top of the hill at turn 2. for the
But
superior underdog
getting back to
side.
what we were talking about passing, the hairpin, and then at the bottom of the hill, right where the runoff area is for the drag racing track, when you make that right-hander at the bottom of the hill, those are going to be your two big passing zones, because you're flirting with disaster trying to come up the hill and make a move.
Going again into that hairpin, we ride on board with Vilda Whalen. Currently running in the 21st position, trying to get around Daniel Bloomquist. Right in the dead center of the car on the front bumper. Right on the splitter is where this camera is located. Going back up to the front. Jesper Eriksson has gotten away from Hammerstedt, but Hammerstedt, Jason, is not letting him go too far. It's staying around that 1.1, 1.2 second difference between these two. And you can see right there, they're trading faster lap times, as it looks like. Hammerstedt has gotten it down again inside of a second, the gap between the two.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect Hammerstedt to let him go, to let Jesper Eriksson go too far, even though they are teammates, of course. But we have seen from the practice session and the qualifying that Hammerstedt overall is just that little bit quicker on one lap pace. But we're seeing as you go into a race situation, there may be a bit more even. But obviously he's not going to try and go for a move too sharpish because, well, teammates got to be a bit careful about it.
It's a big kick out there from Fredriksson, or pardon me, from Eriksson. Take a look back to Oscar Fredriksson, trying to work on the 33 of Jonas Gunnarsson. Battle for 6th between these two. And a little bit further behind, that's Peter Helmbro trying to work on Daniel Solo at the moment. Still trying to work on Daniel Solo for that matter. Even further back, just outside the top 20, Kenneth Tier battling with Tony Oivonen. Daniel Bloomquist, Vilda Whalen there as well. As Kenneth Tier has just been running consistent and calm laps here at the moment, Tony.
83 was around.
Looks like something just happened to Jonas Skoglund. As
White Esports entrance, we'll take a look and see what happened there with him. It's out of turn 4, going down into turn 5. Too hard on the brakes, ends up jumping over the curb. Something that we're used to seeing in these Cup cars around here going into that corner, Tony.
yeah, ain't the first time we've seen a Cup car catch too much of that curb and go around. Definitely won't be the last.
Anton Ehrmann catching a lot of that curb in turn 4 as we see the 45 of Ganbat letting these guys go. Ganbat already a lap down. Letting as many people go as he can. Ehrmann now trying to defend from Jochen Huet. In the 101, that would be for Ehrmann to maintain his 15th position. We will have one caution here tonight. It will be a stage caution at lap 25. And Jason, I believe I cut you off.
That's fine. While we were looking at that, Michael Fleederson made a move on Gustav Jonsson for P4. That was just in the hairpin, basically exactly what you'd expect. Have Fleederson down the inside, and then if you got the inside line at that turn, there's really not much the outside driver can do about it.
You see the move right there. Jonsson giving him as much room as humanly possible.
It's way too early to be really pushing on it, so you don't really want to damage your car this early because there are no fast repairs tonight. And with an 85% fuel fill and 5 sets of tires to get them through tonight, looking at that situation, I'm thinking that's why Hammerstadt is not trying to lead this early. He's just letting Ericsson go, knowing that, after the competition caution, they're going to bunch the field back up anyways.
Jesper Ericsson right now has sorted it out as Robert Ericsson has had a moment. Trying to find him on here. See what happened with Robert Ericsson coming out of pit road. I think he may have just... Oh, there he goes, rolling away. And yep, comes to a stop at pit exit.
Wants to make sure that he's not going to impede anyone coming at speed.
Jochen Wet has gotten around Anton Ehrmann. For that 14th spot. Ehrmann not letting him go, though. 24 of Arildsson, and still trying to work his way forward. Arildsson started up in the 12th spot. These three guys going at it as much as they can right now.
Yeah, I mean, the driver of the 24 is going to want to make as much ground as possible, as that early spin round really didn't help him. I don't think he's got too much damage from it, but obviously track position-wise, he's going to want to be a bit further up than 16th, because I bet he can get into the top 10 in this race. It's Ehrmann and Wet going side by side now.
Dan
Trying
Kong,
to.
Dan Kong in the Twitter chat asking, where do we correct wrong sayings? Just tell us in the chat. We'll see it and we'll correct it.
Yeah, unfortunately, in Twitter, they don't let you translate the chat, so you're going to need to let us know, unfortunately, in English. And over on the YouTube side, you can translate, so feel free, boys. Let us have it.
Part of the entertainment for this series was we were not provided with a pronunciation guide.
Correct. Until after the first race of each series.
As Jesper Ericsson still out in front. Still watching Kim Nydholm, Jochen Wet, Antoine Ehrmann, Alexander Arildsson right here. 13th down to 16th. A little bit of a lockup there from Jochen Wet in the 101. It looks like Ehrmann
coming through there.
Ehrmann either did not get a good run off of that hairpin or is allowing that 24 to go by. Any event, that is Arildsson in 15th, Ehrmann in 16th.
That's the nice thing racing with slightly less downforce than what some of these guys are used to on a road course, is that you can sort of do different moves. Because that one really started on the exit of the hairpin, where Arildsson just sort of stuck his nose in where you wouldn't normally expect on exit. Maybe putting off Ehrmann a little bit, and able to get that move done then before T1.
Sometimes you got to do it that way.
It's fun when it works.
On board with Kim Nydholm. Jochen Wet going into the hairpin. It looks as though that 101 may have had the nose. Very good exit by that 58. Keeps the 101 at bay. Battle up for 9th right now. Daniel Solo having all he can handle with Peter Helmbro at the moment.
And all that battling is let Arildsson get back into this battle as Uman continues to fade back. So 3rd, 13th, 14th, and 15th running stem to stern right now as Arildsson looks to the inside of where and not going to make the pass done. The door gets slammed, and he loses a ton of momentum.
Not sure if you're live, sir.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, okay.
Coming through the S's right now.
Yep, there we are. Looking up towards the front, Eric Blixt in the 95 has been caught by his teammate, Michael Hefliedesen. What will soon be a battle for third. And Hefliedesen, you see there, has been catching this 95 at a rapid rate of knots. 4 tenths, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 8 tenths. This number 81 has gotten quicker as this run has gone on. The only problem for the Alcantech team is that he's brought Gustav Jansson with him.
Yeah, he seems to have some insane race pace in comparison to everyone else. Not sure whether he's conserving tires a bit more than Eric Blixt is able to, but he's doing something that's working very well and getting very close to being able to make a move in the hairpin, maybe on exit actually, as they're now side by side. Though I think the 95 is going to have the better run out there. And what do we call this start-finish bit? I don't actually know.
We'll go with that. It's a start-finish bit.
Cool. Because it's not a straight.
No.
Well, if it was
Not
a
for
dragger,
long,
you
at
should call
least.
it the staging lanes.
True. That's the turn one start area used to be very, very different at Sonoma. Jonas Skoglund has had another moment. He's jumped back to the pits. See the rear brake rotors on that 95 really glowing going into turn 5.
Yeah, there's quite a few drivers that are doing that. Some not quite as much rear brake bias, but you could tell the guys that are really trying to hustle it using the brake. Almost trying to initiate a drift, if you will, to get that rear end to start to rotate. No,
Yeah, front end
that
locked up.
didn't work.
Front end for that 95 locked up there, and Jason Hefliedesen about the easiest move he'll make tonight, up into third.
Yeah, probably so. And unfortunately, I think that spree of passes is going to come to a bit of an abrupt end, as he's got 5.8 seconds of clear air in front of him. And wow, it's no easy two drivers in front of him either. So
58's off the
good
track
luck
coming
to
through
make
the
any more moves.
S's.
58. It's Kim Nyholm. Boy, and then almost into the wall coming out of the hairpin. Now, fortunately, it is a tire wall on the exit there, but as you know, that tends to throw you out a little bit further than a normal wall would, as Jochen Wett still battling with Arildsen in the 24, and that 24 really trying to move forward as much as he can after that bad start.
Well, Wett is already +6. Currently one of your biggest movers. Vendela Whalen is your actual biggest mover. He and both Jonas Fors are up 11. Make that Fors +12 now as he moves into the 25th spot.
There is Vilda right there. Stefan Wang off track as well, trying to allow faster cars through. In the 85, and there is the race leader, Jesper Eriksson, coming up to put that 85 a lap down. Only a couple laps to go. Again, stage break coming at lap 25, at the completion of lap 25. As 37 still working away from Hammerstedt. Jesper Eriksson, a 1:14.68 last time around. Hefliedesen, a 1:14.67. So that 81 is very quick right now, on leader's pace.
Yeah, only about a 10/1000th of a second separating the two.
Boy, big
Janssen
dive.
That's a move.
just bombs it in there.
Boy, and now he's got a teammate to contend with on the exit of the corner. Big move from Gustav Janssen.
What is wrong with the 82's front left? That's not moving. Does he realize that? I don't think he
it's
realizes
broken.
this.
Yeah, no, he's hit the wall. That's broken.
Oh, he's realized it now.
Yeah, this tends to happen when you don't turn. This is what happened with Robert Erling that put him in the scenario we just saw him in. Does he clip the pit wall? No? Oh, no, he had already... Oh, he went way too hard going into the hairpin. And then that's where he came out right in front of that move from Gustav Janssen. And we'll take a look at this from Janssen's perspective. Look at this dive, completely under control. 95 even locks up the fronts. Boy, and then a tense moment on exit. Had another moment as Pontus Nilsson, I believe, has had an off in the 19. See what happened there. Nilsson currently running in 26th. I'm assuming he loops it going into turn 5 here in front of his teammate, or that, or he's, he's going to pull off and let his teammate go. Teammates, I should say. Gustav Janssen not letting Michael Haflidason get away. Haflidason caught up to some traffic last lap at a 15:49. Hammerstedt, though, really put the hammer down, a 1:14.26 last time around.
He's the fastest of anybody in the top 20.
Only about a tenth and a half off of his best lap of the race at a 14:13.
So we're seeing some very different ways of letting lap traffic by in this race. Some people very much going out of their way and going all the way off the track to give as much room as possible.
Others helping out teammates, trying to get in the way as much as possible. And I mean, Jason, you see it all the time in road racing or circuit racing. It's not that you catch up to a slow car, it's where you catch up to that slow car that can make all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, there's not really anywhere good to catch up to a slow car here as Wolf. Eric Blixt very sideways coming across, I think, turn 3, turn 4, somewhere.
Down turn 3. Yep.
Towards the top of the hill, yeah.
Yeah.
But, Jason, you're absolutely right, because this track really, in this particular layout anyways, doesn't have a real straightaway where you can, open up the tap. You really have to... Your elbows up from the time the green flag comes out to the time the checkered flies.
Jesper
Yeah,
Eriksson.
exactly.
Good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you've just got to find the best spot and, well, it's near enough first opportunity here and just go for it and then hope they don't defend it.
Jesper Eriksson found a very bad spot to catch those lap cars on the exit of the hairpin, as Hammerstedt almost has that lead gap back down again, as that's the 41 allowing drivers to go through. That was Bjorn Broström. Eriksson now having to fight with the 64, and that's part of the reason why you would want to be second in a circuit race like this. Allow the leader to move everyone else out of your way for you.
Yeah, but I don't think he's really pushing the issue quite yet, because that's his teammate, running for the same division of that team. And the last thing you want to do, especially as we are closing in on the stage caution, is to put two of your team's cars in a bad situation. And you see just how much rear bias that Hammerstedt has dialed into that thing as he was coming through the hairpin, and those brake rotors were almost glowing white.
It's very useful to get the car turned in though if you can hold it. And he's good enough to hold it, so why not? I guess.
Michael Haflidason setting his best lap of the race, just 1/100th of a second off of the overall fastest lap. He's not going to do it now with the lap traffic that he's contended with. Best lap of the race goes to Ericsson at a 1:14.06, Haflidason a 1:14.07 that last time through.
Oh my. Marcus Stiller just had a big moment.
Stiller is on track right now. There he is in the 013. See what happened with that Stray Dogs Toyota, with that Team Superior Toyota. It's through turn 5. Ooh. Spinning the 302 of Ricard Allard.
We're seeing pitting.
Yes, we are. That's Arildsson in pit road. Stage break coming at the end of the next lap. So is Sam Hammerstedt down pit road as well.
Interesting. Looks like those guys are going to be wanting the track position more than the stage points.
There's Oscar Fredrickson as well. So Hammerstedt foregoing a stage win. Effectively handing it to Jesper Eriksson if Eriksson does not pit on this lap. Hammerstedt down and away, back on the racetrack, only goes from 2nd to 7th. Andre Solander, who currently occupies the 6th position, just 3 seconds up the road. There he is in that green number 140.
101 on the 487 are in as well.
Jochen Wet, Daniel Bloomquist in. Bright Esports Overpower teammates.
You're going to laugh at me when I say this, but Hammerstedt looks like he only took fuel. Neither side of that car went in the air.
I would believe it. Solo and Helmbro having a very close moment going around the lap car.
You can tell just how used to GT3 racing these guys are. Is he took the fuel on this stop so he can have the tires on the next stop.
That is very much an endurance racing tactic. You get a couple of stints out of the tires instead of just the one.
Gustav Jansson was just in a very sticky 3-wide situation.
Around one of the lap cars, it was for his teammates that would have been. As we come through the S's now, Jesper Eriksson started in 2nd, took the lead from the word go. Just has to negotiate now around Eric Lundberg and the 35 of Robert Eriksson. Does just that. Comes out of the hairpin and will cross the line. Jesper Eriksson, the winner of the stage here at Sonoma. Waiting for the top 10 to cross, I would have to assume. Hammerstedt very close to getting Andre Solander here, but he's not going to. Solander locks up the tires. Hammerstedt does not. And now these two will have a drag race to the line, fitting where the line is. And it will just barely be Hammerstedt collecting the spot.
Whether it's going to be that way when the caution is called still. I think it will, as Holmer's just about to come across the line. So in theory, there you go.
Yep, there it goes. So the caution is out. Oh, Kenneth Tier has had a spin coming through turn 11. Athleta Johansson had gone around as well, but Jesper Eriksson will take the stage win, and we will take a break and be right back. You are watching the Svenska Eracingligan round number 3 of the season for the Cup side, the Free Alex 224,210 meter or 140 miles here at Sonoma. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to round number 3 of the Svenska Eracingligan Cup Series. the Free Alex 224,210 meter here at Sonoma Raceway. Sam Hammerstedt and Oscar Fredrickson will start 1 and 2 by virtue of pitting prior to the end of the stage. Jesper Eriksson was the stage winner and will line up in third as everyone except for the front two came in under this most recent caution. And Jason, they lapped the field all the way up to 18th position, so a lot of guys are going to be looking to try to get back here on this restart.
Yep, they are indeed, but let's see what's going to happen between our front guys. Sam Hammerstedt didn't get the best getaway on the race start. Is he going to be as unfortunate now, or is he going to do better? He does much better this time around, and Jesper Eriksson following him straight through immediately as well.
And as we imagined, Eriksson getting through into second. Oh, around that was the 84 of Oivonen that had a moment. Up to the top of the hill, turn 3. Hammerstedt's off just a little bit, but these Force cars right up here at the front.
You almost got to think that, especially with the tire model that's on this car, Hammerstedt is not going to be able to hang with Eriksson much longer. And just say that he makes a liar out of me. But if Eriksson can get the run out of the hairpin, which is really where that tire advantage is going to shine, I don't think Hammerstedt's got anything for him. As Jonas Forss has a big moment.
Yeah, Jonas Forss. Those guys were still catching up on the wave arounds when we went back to green. So those guys did not catch up at the field. They've been up and at full song for quite some time here. That appeared to be the 64 in the background there, having to let somebody go. That was Marcus Stromberg, allowing Oivonen in the 044 of Philip Bjork through. Oscar Fredrickson now having to try to hold off Michael Heflidesen. Looking back at that restart, everyone inside the top 10 was running for either Force Esports or as Gustav Jansson spinning coming out of turn 4.
I didn't quite see that one as it happened. I'm just replaying it now. Was it just on his own?
I believe
yeah, just
so.
Too much inside curb.
See these guys catching a lot of that inside curb, and he was very lucky, Tony, not to have caught the wall at the end of turn 4 as we see it again, or on the inside either.
Well, you can see even with that car out of control, he was still driving it, trying to guide the thing away from both walls. Doesn't lose too many spots, but back up to speed now. And I'm thinking next pit stop, a new fire suit.
Goes from about 5th to 11th does Jansson there. And as I was saying before that happened, on that restart, everyone in the top 10 was either for Force Esports in some derivative or Alcantech in some derivative. These two teams have completely run away with this race. Daniel Solo has had an off as well, one of those Alcantech cars.
Well, Frank, take a look at what just happened at the front of this piece with those two Force Esports cars and the first Alcantech. We just saw 3 drivers go sub 14.
And for the first time today, as you saw Daniel Solo there in replay, having a big moment going into turn 11. Hammerstedt, fastest lap of all here today, a 1:13.65. Jesper Eriksson, though, not giving any breathing room, did a 1:13.73 last time around. Heflidesen, a 1:13.89. These guys have found a half a second from practice.
Yeah. That's impressive.
See what the lap times are this time around. Eriksson resets, thought he did, pardon me. Fastest of all, though. Heflidesen resets a personal best, but it will not count as an official personal best. He did a 13.78, but he did have an off.
Yeah, he exceeded the track limits, as y'all say over there in Formula One.
Who needs tires anyway? Who needs
exactly.
new tires?
Well, and again, Jason, that's what we were talking about before when we saw that Hammerstedt didn't take tires on his pit stop prior to the end of the stage. In endurance racing, this is what you're used to. You're used to taking your set of tires a good 2, maybe 3 stints if you're comfortable enough doing so. It's a normal practice in GT racing.
It is, but the difference is in GT racing, you can... Well, tires take a lot longer. Obviously, you've got... Well, it's just the tires take longer in GT3, so it's amazing to still see that here, where you've got 4 tires in 15 seconds, rather than it's going to take, what, a minute to put in. Especially since there are safety regulations in place for GT3, where you're not allowed to fuel while changing tires.
Yeah, whereas NASCAR, go ahead. Smoke a cigarette while you're doing it.
Michael Heflidison, by the way, you see pushing every limit that he possibly can out of turn 4. Set the fastest lap of the race last time through at a 1:13.57. This was as Jesper Eriksson was setting his personal best at a 1:13.61. These top 3 are moving right now.
Sam Haberstad a full second in front of...
Heflidison a big off there at 12. Really extended. Eriksson, you see the wisp of smoke there locking it up.
Big moment for Oscar Fredriksson, too, is Eric Blixt given all sorts of pressure to him. They've been side by side since before the hairpin.
Very difficult place to do this, but if the 95 can keep it side by side here, he's got a very good run opportunity at least, and there he goes, makes the pass back up into P4 for Blixt. Pretty much where he's been sitting all race long, qualified in 3rd, but he's been 3rd, 4th, 5th all day.
Yeah, I mean, turn 2 is basically a one-line corner. You have to be on the inside through it, otherwise that the camber on that is just going to run you out wider and wider and wider, and as you see, the 112 had to slow down so much to avoid running off the track.
You're also cresting the hill right there, so that's really unsettling the car to begin with.
With how heavy these cars are, once they get light, it is very hard to get them back under control, as we're seeing this battle just outside the top 10. Kim Nyholm currently holds that 10th spot in the 58. Daniel Solo, Vilda Whalen, Gustav Jansson there as well. Little ways back, but still right in the mix. 10th, 11th, and 12th on your screen. Oh, watch out, Tier! Boy, Kenneth Tier. Very heads-up move there. Realized he got into the corner too hot and then swerved to the left. 1, trying to keep himself out of the wall, but 2, most importantly, trying to keep himself out of the back end of the 29.
Good heads-up driving from the Toyota driver there.
Daniel Solo took a big shunt. We saw that earlier on in turn 12. Ended up sliding backwards into the tire wall in turn 12. And 13. Doesn't look the worst for wear, Jason. There's a little bit of damage on the left rear, but still looks just as pristine as it did otherwise.
On the 13?
Yep.
Yeah, it's looking decent from what I can see. I mean, my TV cameras are only showing me the right-hand side at the moment, but yeah, I don't see too much on that. And I mean, still directly up against the back of Kim Nyholm in front, so
Boy,
clearly can't be too much wrong.
Slide out of solo there. Here's the 336 of Gustav Jansson looking to the inside of the 29. Jansson up to 12th.
Very squirrely out of the hairpin for the 13 as well. I'm actually surprised that the 336 didn't get as much of a run, to be honest. But not great lines for both the 13 and the 58. So that's going to let the 336 past at least the 13. So Gustav Jansson now back up into 11th as he passed Daniel Solo, and then Kim Newholm going wide. Gustav Jansson get through them as well.
Riding on board with Jansson that whole time, and it just goes to show how crazy it can get here on a road course, especially in one of these big, heavy stock cars. And Tony, I know you'll appreciate this. Last time around, Michael Haflidason, 1:13.55, resetting fastest lap.
I did see that. Bear with me because my system locked up again.
There you go. All right, so Sam Hammerstedt up at the front. There is the gap between Hammerstedt and Jesper Eriksson. Haflidason just about a second off of Eriksson at the moment. And for Hammerstedt, certainly something that Hammerstedt needed, Jason. Currently, it came into this race, or was I thinking of somebody else? Hold on. Looking through the, oh no, I was thinking of him. Hammerstedt certainly needing this. Finished 40th at Daytona, 36th at Kansas. So that's 74 right now. This is seeming like this is where his season is going to start.
Yeah, probably definitely more of a road course runner than Sam Hammerstedt, showing that it is firmly a different skill set. I mean, maybe the races in Kansas and Daytona were just unlucky for him, but we've seen him be consistently quick at the road courses, and the results just haven't been there at the ovals. So very much a road course ringer, as we see in the GT3 series as well. With well, he's become basically what we expect up the top of the qualifying session at any given time.
On the flip side to that, Jesper Eriksson, third at Daytona, winner last week at Kansas. And up here at the front again.
Yeah. He's doing pretty well for himself then.
Absolutely. A little bit of a wiggle there coming off of turn 4. Michael Haflidason. Now we've given you profile bios on everyone else up here in the top 3. May as well for Haflidason as well. Currently coming in 8th in standings, 14th at Daytona, 16th at Kansas last week. For that number 81, Eric Blixt, his first race of the season in that number 95, at least on the Cup side. And then for Oscar Fredriksson, 18th in points coming into today, finished 5th at Daytona in the season opener. Unfortunately, a 43rd place finish for Fredriksson at Kansas 2 weeks ago. So everyone in the top 5 just covered right there.
Very nice, very nice. As I think the battle around 12th place is still going on. Kim Newholm and Vilde Berlin not done yet, as it looks like the 29 is going to be able to make a move down towards the hairpin. Chooses not to go for it though.
Certainly thought about it, and we've seen that multiple times here in this race, and that is another GT passing tactic. Maybe take a little bit of a different line. Try to force the driver in front to take an off line. Force them to run wide on exit and cut back under and take the spot. Unfortunately for the 29, didn't commit enough to the move to force Newholm far enough offline or deep enough into the corner. Keeps the spot.
You say that, but it looks like it could work up into here. There is a possibility for a move. Still not quite going for it. Maybe using a bit of mind games as well. As just showing, look, I can sit behind you all I want, but
this move is coming.
Get past, yeah.
You sneeze wrong and I'm going by you.
Exactly.
What we'll do here, we'll sit on board with the 29 here. Take a lap of silence as this lap starts, just to show how much these competitors are having to work around this racetrack. And I think the 29 being as good a thought as any, with a driver right in front for position. So we'll just take a lap here with the 29. She's an awfully busy bee inside of that car. And that's what it takes to force one of these big, heavy, lumbering stock cars around this racetrack, a track where the GT3s would probably just eat it for lunch.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you figure that, just on the weight of the car and how nimble those GT3 cars can be, this is a 3,650 pound stock car. And yeah, there's some similarities to how they're generating the aero package on the cars. Completely different animal under the hood.
Absolutely. It is a beautiful facility. Unfortunately, we don't get to see it enough when it's green, as here comes the 29 to the inside. Looking, and finally does get the pass done on Kim Nyholm in the 58. And usually right around this time of year, this place is about as green as you can get. And in the spring as well. I put a petition out for years trying to get this place moved on the Cup schedule up into March. Have a Fontana Sonoma back-to-back. So it looks like Haflidy Johansson has had a moment in the 52, possibly just allowing leaders to go by. And speaking of those leaders, the gap really hasn't changed all that much. Sam Hammerstedt currently sitting at the front now by 3/4 of a second over Jesper Eriksson. And Michael Haflidason with that incredible pace. All of these guys still running sub 14, by the way, when they're not in traffic. Haflidason, Jason, just has not been able to keep up and has not been able to keep that rapid pace going.
Yeah, I guess he may be a slightly slower, maybe a couple of tenths per lap, and then potentially slightly more hesitant on traffic, or maybe traffic's less eager to let him through as third place rather than P1 and P2 very close to each other. But either way, that gap has increased between himself and the top two slightly. Still only in 2.5 seconds, so anything can happen, and one mistake and he's right back in it, but it is slowly but surely increasing.
Had gotten as low as a second, as now these bright eSport cars making life a little bit difficult for Hammerstedt. Gets around the 64, now waiting to get around Bloomqvist in the 487. Bloomqvist not letting up off the line, and that causes a big checkup for Hammerstedt. And Eriksson now, Tony, right to the back of Hammerstedt.
Yeah, Hammerstedt left the door open, and Ericsson, he's right there ready to pounce. But, again, team rules in effect. Try not to kill each other. But we all know what happens if you are going to kill each other. Make damn sure it's a Sports Center highlight for the next year. But neither one of them want to put those cars in a bad situation, as we still have 3 minutes left.
Bloomquist really held that 74 up, going up the hill. This right now, well, now that made this the closest battle on track. The other one, Jonas Gunnarsson has held off Andre Solander really from the time that this stage has begun. As Gunnarsson, both of those two drivers, Alcantech teammates, neither one of them really looking more eager to pass the other one, Jason.
Yeah, no, they're just sort of sitting there. I mean, first to make a pass, you have to be right up on the back of someone. That does help, but I don't think there's too much rush yet, to be honest. And just going back to the lapping situation, it's a case of where you can look at that and go, that wasn't very nice, but you don't have to let people through immediately.
No, absolutely not. As we are working with about 25 laps to go here at Sonoma, and with that we will take another break. We'll be right back. You are watching the Svenska Eracingligan round number 3 from Sonoma Raceway. Battle for the lead getting hot as we enter the final stages of this race. We'll be back right after this.
Sure. No, it was Sherp. Because Hepledison just blew by him through the hairpin.
Oh God. Oh! Careful, lads. That's not.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that rear left is gone. I just went back and just was double checking my facts there.
Back here at Sonoma Raceway. Battle between first, second, and third. Jesper Eriksson, Sam Hammerstedt, Michael Heflidesen, all together. With 20 laps to go. We saw during the break, here is what happened with Daniel Solo. Going down into turn 4, we saw him backwards in turn 12 earlier on. Ooh, too much rear brake, clips the curbing. And then as he straightens up, a whole gaggle of cars start to come in. The 35 clips him in the back. Didn't take much, and you can see, watch the left rear suspension, broken.
Yeah, it doesn't take too much on these cars, and unfortunately that did happen, and Gustav Jonsson now making a move on Andre Salander.
Very good job there.
In fact, I think the contact with Solo was actually a bit of a netcode, to be honest, looking back at the replay.
It might have been, because we saw Eriksson for a split second lose that left front suspension, and then it came back. So that would have been, well, that right front suspension, pardon me, and then it came back. Something we see quite a bit with the Indy cars, as far as heavy contact with the Indy cars. They have their own little problems. And speaking of their own little problems, we got a big one here. This is coming through the S's. I think that's the 85. Patrick Pfeffer there. The 200 was there. Skoglund was there. There was a lot of stuff going on there right in turn 5. Take a look and see what that was. There's Robert Eriksson. Goes wide into turn 5, letting the 95 go. And then it just seemed like there was a bunch of other stuff that was going on behind him. Jonas Skoglund, yeah, here he is, the 83. It's the car I saw down on the inside. There's what happened to Skoglund. Boy, and the 57 of Larson, just wrong place, wrong time. So that's what all the commotion was. Jonas Gunnarsson in and out. Sam Hammerstedt coming into pit road from the race lead. I would have to assume tires are on order now. Michael Heflidesen in pit road as well, Jason. It is money stop time.
It is, and I do wonder about the tire situation. Are we going to have some, or is it going to be a Lightning McQueen situation of no tires, just gas?
Michael Heflidesen able to gain a little bit of ground. Haven't seen Hammerstedt's car go up yet.
Fuel only.
Heflidesen.
Wow.
Both of them going fuel only on one set of tires in this race so far.
That's a ballsy
Again,
move.
Who needs tires? You don't need them. Just don't use them, lol.
Especially when they were in the 1 minute 14 second range. They have not lost any time, really. So that leaves Jesper Eriksson with a 15-second lead. And judging by Hammerstedt, lock up Bjork in the 044 right in front of the race leader. 84 of Oivinen hits the wall, breaks the front suspension, and Eriksson has to send him out of the way.
Unreal. Well, we're getting to that time in the race where you start to suffer from brain fade, unfortunately.
He may have lost the right front completely. Oh, watch out now, the 19 having to get out of the way.
I'll say, has he figured out that he's missing a suspension piece? Or is he just trying to get it home?
He's trying to nurse it at this point, I think. See what happens when he turns it here. Yeah, he knows something's wrong. He's well out of the line.
I mean, the left-handers will be fine, but unfortunately for you, this track is clockwise.
A lot more rights than lefts. And
He's
ooh,
gonna have a fun
watch
time
out.
trying to get
Yeah.
onto pit road.
Well, if he didn't know the left front suspension was broken before, he certainly knows it now.
Surprise!
He hit that wall hard in turn 4, cutting the course.
May as well eat the slowdown if you're not going to be going that quickly anyway.
Yep. Why don't you stay out of the line? Try to take that Indy, take the Indy part of the course now. There you go, straight on. See, will Tony Oivinen make it back to pit road here? He's only got one more turn to negotiate. Oh no! Oh, Solander! Solander finds himself wrong place, wrong time, and immediately into pit road. It could not have happened in a better spot for Solander. Sure, he would have rathered it not happen at all, but that was big, and for all of that effort, Oivinen then tows it.
Right front completely ripped off Solander's car.
Well, I think that also meant that the right front was off of Ovenen's car as well, so he wasn't able to turn at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, having to tow it anyway.
See this again. This is why you stick with slower cars in situations like this. You never know what can happen. Oh, this is way up the hill. Let's go back here. We'll see if we can get it here. Solander. Oh, we're way losing time now. And we'll just stick with it from here. As Solander finding everything normal. Go back to Oivinen. Going through the S's now. You can even see Solander up at the top of the screen. So Oivinen takes that the IndyCar way. And again, here comes Solander through. Oivinen clipped the grass. Oh, both right side tires gone on the 40.
Yeah.
Solander had just clipped the grass, and with drive and only, well, with steering ability and only the one corner of the car, there was no way he was saving that. Eric Blixt down pit road from second in the 95.
Promotes Oscar Fredrickson up into second place.
Hammerstedt just getting back into third now. Haflidason into fourth. Top three, all 4 esports cars from any of their derivatives. "44 seconds is what it took Hammerstedt, nearly 45, down pit road from cone to cone. So that would put, at this moment, that would put Jesper Eriksson in 6th behind Eric Blixt if he were to come in now, which he's going to.
Whoa.
He went in heavy. So if Eriksson takes fuel only here.
Hammerstedt's got problems.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw those words correctly, didn't I?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. So Hammerstedt.
Just before the S's.
Watch out, that's Larson. Hammerstedt appears
just
to
when
be
lapping
fine.
Larson.
Here's what happened with Hammerstedt, the third place runner. Turn 4. Trying to make sure he's clear of Larson. Larson, ooh, right into the side of him.
Yeah. Pass
Car high, bud.
seems okay, but that's crucial time.
Yep. Jesper Eriksson back out on the racetrack.
Mhm. Sitting a second in front of Hammerstedt, and then Michael Fleederson's got 4 seconds on Hammerstedt, so he's looking pretty good for when Oscar Fredriksson pulls at pit side for the final time.
Haflidason has pit already. Haflidason came into pit on lap 51. Pit stop laps for the drivers in the top 5. Eriksson, we know, just came into pit now. Janssen has come into pit as well, or has not pit, pardon me, since lap 27, nor has Fredriksson. Now Fredriksson in. Hammerstedt closing in on, that was Fors. He just passed, and now Eriksson right in front of him. These two have been going at it all race long. And are going at it again. Gustav Janssen, Tony, in as well.
He is at that. As I was going back and take a look at what happened with Johan Larsson. Coming up the hill, he just missed turn 2. Completely missed it. And almost took out another Fors Esports car.
There's been a lot of him up towards the front. As Eriksson and Hammerstedt really getting on it now. But it is a battle for second between these two. Michael Haflidason has been able to jump both of these guys and holds a 2.7 second lead over this battle. And the more these two battle, the further away this man, Haflidason, will be able to get.
Yeah, but that gap has noticeably come down by about a second within the last lap and a half, so...
It doesn't look like they're going to battle each other. They're just trying to reel in Haflidason, and then it's game on.
Sliding that Eriksson's doing, that big slide going in, and then whips it out of the corner.
And you can see just how much rear brake bias he has dialed into that car coming into the hairpin.
Haflidason must have been caught in traffic because that last lap, a 14.13, back on his old pace. Eric Blixt does his fastest lap in the 95, about 12 seconds back from the pair we're seeing now. 14.02 for Blixt. Another battle for position a little bit further back. Jonas Gunnarsson and Peter Helmbro. This is a battle for 8th. So the two closest battles for position, the battle for 2nd, the battle for 8th.
And what's the common denominator between those two battles, Frank?
It's 3 Fors Esports cars in those two battles.
Yes, there are.
But right
that
now
has got to be one of the strongest teams, top to bottom, in the entirety of the iRacing server.
It's an Alcantech team currently leading the race. Boy, Eriksson jumping that inside curb in turn 1, opens the door, but the 117 slow with a broken left front suspension means Hammerstedt can't capitalize.
Look at the last lap Eriksson laid down, 1:13.53.
Fastest lap of the race.
20 thousandths to the good over anything anybody else has laid down here tonight.
It was the 117 of Philip Broberg that had the issue. We'll see what led up to the issue that he just had. Going into the hairpin. Everything looks good on entry. The exit, however, leaves a lot to be desired. Catches that tire wall, breaks the left front suspension. Left front fender goes as well. And unfortunately for Eriksson and Hammerstedt, they caught him at the worst time.
Yeah, they did, but that's how it goes, really. The traffic will go your way, and it won't go your way, really. It's a rule of endurance racing, and it's just a rule of racing in general when the race is long enough.
Ericsson flirting with disaster coming out of the S's, dips 2 tires into the gravel. Now lets Hammerstadt close right back in on him.
Guys are taking the big jumps over these curves. Jonas Gunnarsson still behind Peter Helmbro for 7th. Vilda Whalen in and out of pit road, up in 12th. Now is the 29. You see that car in the back?
Maybe a penalty to deal with there then.
Could possibly be. Robert Eriksson having a little bit more issues. There's Salander getting passed and lapped, and boy, Andre Salander had a very good day for himself. Taken away, battling up in the top 5 all race, or around the top 5 all race, solidly in the top 10.
Now, I've got to ask both of you a question. Since the latest iRacing update on the damage model, do you think that's part of the cause of a lot of the front-end suspension damage that we're seeing is taking too much curb?
That could be it. That was an update. Well, that was part of the update for these cars for season 4. Sorry, I was looking at something else. That was a part of the update package for these cars for season 4, is that progressive damage. So the more and more you hit the curbs, the harder and harder you hit the curbs, the more and more likely the car is to break over time. So that damage does accumulate in a way that it hasn't done before in iRacing, and that could certainly be a reason why we're seeing some of these issues. So we see Vilda Whalen battling with Alexander Riltson. Battle for 10th. These two are not on the lead lap. As a matter of fact, they're the first two not on the lead lap. Daniel Holmer in the 79 would be the next car to be lapped for the first time.
Now, Frank, I do have another really stupid question for you. The race is supposed to be 2 hours from start to checker.
We are at an hour 20.
We are at an hour 20. But
7
in
to go.
the iRacing info, it's showing 7 laps.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's 7 to go.
Because it's 70-lap race.
Okay.
Tony figures out how to count, everyone.
No, I got confused because we do GT3 with these guys as well, and those are timed races, not lap races.
Yeah, these are lap races.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nothing has changed. It's Michael Haflidason going to start to come under pressure here. Jesper Eriksson is dispatched of his teammate in the 74. 2.5 in front and a 2.5 behind for the 37. And there you see, slowly catching up. That staircase very much looking Eriksson's way.
Yeah, Eriksson was 0.2 quicker the last time by. And he's starting to pull a little bit of a gap on his teammate Sam Hammerstadt. But Haflidason, if he can keep that car clean, not put it in a bad situation, catching someone is one thing. Passing them, that's a completely different story. But, we're in the closing laps of this piece, and all's fair in love and racing.
Big lockup by Haflidason going into the hairpin. Gained about another 0.2 of a second. Haflidason 1:14 flat, which was the fastest time in practice, to Ericsson's 1:13.81. Eric Blixt as well has found the pace. 1:13.83 the lap prior, 1:14.05. He's setting personal bests, running in that fourth spot, 15 seconds off of Hammerstedt, but still, he's got some time in him now. As there goes Daniel Blomqvist around Kim Nyholm, that's for 12th. Peter Helmbro still holding off Jonas Gunnarsson. And Jason, this is the part of the race where these guys are going to be a little bit more prone to making mistakes. We're getting towards the end. 5 laps to go as Haflidason crosses the line now. You know you've got a faster car behind you catching up. Don't push it too hard.
Exactly. That's the thing they've got to keep into their minds, really. Do the same as you've done all race. Don't try and push it too much harder just because it's the last few laps. But obviously still take your opportunities where you've got them and start being maybe slightly less cautious than you may have been.
Haflidason a 14 flat on back-to-back laps. Says something for consistency.
Very impressive.
Haven't
And
done.
Ericsson's not that much slower the last couple of laps either.
Ericsson has been. We'll show you the lap time history between the two. Ericsson's been a good couple of tenths quicker, only 200ths
Be right back.
quicker that last time by. So that 37 is a little bit faster, but at this rate, it's not going to be enough.
No, it doesn't look to be. But obviously, we're still going to have 5 laps to go, so anything can happen, as Stefan Wong very much so showing there that anything can happen as he looks to be around.
That's coming out of turn 4 there in the 85. And now going to be coming up to the leaders here soon, as that's the 41 of Bjorn Broström in front of the race leaders right now. Not helping out Haflidason too much initially, but does get out of the way out of turn 5.
I say this is the point at which you'd sort of be screaming inside your crash helmet to traffic to get out the way. Might have been a bit more calm 20 laps ago, but
Yeah, and you're using all sorts of words
go.
and phrases in any language that you might possibly know a curse word in.
Haflidason finding himself in quite an intriguing situation right now, as Pontus Nilsson, one of the Forest cars, now lies in front of him. 2 Forest cars chasing him. You know you can't rely on him to move. Actually, Nilsson does the sporting thing. Lets him go.
And then gets off the track for his 2 teammates to have a clean shot at Haflidason. So, oi, Ericsson sideways crushed in the hill there.
Anton Ehrman slow, allowing drivers to go by. Hammerstedt has brought out the big guns this last lap, 1:13.57. Compare that to Ericsson, a 1:13.94. Hammerstedt fastest of all in the top 3. Personal best as well.
Well, it's absolute time to go, so.
Coming to 2 laps to go. Hammerstedt starting to close in on Ericsson. Ericsson's gains on Haflidason have slowed here over these last couple of laps. 2 more circulations to go, Jason.
Yeah, well, my game did do a little bit of a freeze here. So I'm just loading
All
back
right,
in.
there we go. Jesper Eriksson.
Hammerstadt all over his teammate right now as they come up the hill. Going to have to tiptoe through this next bit of corners. They crest the hill. Both cars getting light as they're now both trying to reel in Sam Hammerstadt. Hammerstadt, though, weaving his way through the lap traffic as Eriksson gets a little bit of a reprieve, and you could just see the brake rotors glowing red hot on Hammerstadt's car as he brings it into the S's.
Hammerstadt, fastest lap of the race, a 1:13.50. That last time through, Eriksson, a 1:14.29.
Good grief.
Haflidason still pulling away a little bit. He's up the pace, fastest first sector of all this race, this lap. As they come to the white flag, it's Michael Haflidason by 1.3 seconds. Hammerstedt giving his teammate no breathing room.
So at this point, when you decide whether you want to be going for a move on your teammate or whether you think there's still that slight chance of being able to catch up for the lead, but I think at this point you'd rather go for the second place than have a outside chance at first, to be honest.
Haflidason's got a lot of traffic to deal with, though, in front of him. 85. Anton Ehrmann there as well. Wong not getting out of the way. This could bring the two Thor's cars ever so close.
And you hit the nail on the head earlier, Frank, when you said it's all about when you catch the traffic, and Haflidason is in a fire right now.
And Wong is not allowing him to go. Finally does get out of the way, but the gap is down to a half a second. Eriksson might have one chance at a dive bomb here, as he's gotten it to within 0.4 of a second. Haflidason takes a very shallow line.
Oh.
Eriksson with a little bit of a punt, but nothing too severe. Haflidason comes across the line. He will win here at Sonoma.
How did Eriksson get that stopped?
Probably with a little help from Haflidason.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of a wow in the rear bumper of Haflidason's Volvo.
Michael Haflidason picks up his first win of the season for Eriksson in the first 3 races this year. He has finished on all 3 steps of the podium. And as we had mentioned earlier on, Sam Hammerstedt desperately needed a good finish here today after finishing 40th at Daytona and 36th at Kansas. Comes home 3rd here at Sonoma. So we are working on getting the drivers into the
we are going to need to talk to Linus about unlocking Forza Esports.
Okay, so that's a thing. So as we work on getting those guys in, part of the issue is also trying to find some of these guys. It doesn't look like the Alcantech team is here at the moment. So right now we will go to one driver that we can interview. That would be Jesper Eriksson. And Tony, I believe you're with our second place finisher right now.
Jesper Eriksson just came up a tick short. Another 100 yards before that hairpin might have had it.
Yeah, this is frustrating, but I'm so happy at the same time. I made so much mistakes coming out of the last stint and coming onto the last stint. If I wouldn't have made those mistakes, I probably would have won, but it was fun still. It was exhausting, and my legs and the arms are numb and everything.
As you do here at a place like Sonoma. Talk us through the pit strategies. Saw you and Sam both not take tires.
No, we had some testing done throughout the week, and we pretty much found out that tires don't matter. They only slow you down when you change them. You lose 5 seconds in the pits, and you lose probably like 2 seconds on the out lap warming up the tires. So it's just not worth it, because you don't lose any time at all on the track with old tires.
Fair enough, but again, you were able to. You led quite a bit of this race as well. Oh, I'm sorry.
That as well.
Just saw. Apparently, Jason saw it as well as I did. As some people just unalived themselves in the sim.
Doing some drag racing.
Yeah, but Jasper, great night tonight. You started on the outside of the pole. You finished in second. Led a ton of this event. How much fun was it when you and Sam were battling back and forth there after the money stop?
It was awesome. It's always fun battling everyone and just have fun. It's so much. Even though we're teammates, it's so much adrenaline, so much tension. You wanna be kind to them, not just dump them, but you still wanna be aggressive towards them. So it's a dilemma.
It's safe to assume that the only team rules that Forza Esports has is try not to kill each other.
That's right.
If you are going to kill each other, make damn sure it's a news highlight reel for the next year, right?
Yes, for sure.
All right, Jasper. I'm going to let you go celebrate. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
Everyone at the team, because all of the testing and everything, we've done so much. Just everyone and Mobihi Bilar, best sponsor in the world. Yeah.
All right, Jasper Eriksson, we'll see you next week.
We sure will.
So that was our second place finisher, Jesper Eriksson. And with that, we will bring in our race winner, Michael Hefledison. Jason, you're with him.
Yep. Congratulations on the race win here at Sonoma, especially from seventh place in qualifying. Talk us through that race.
Oh yeah. First of all, thank you very much. I messed up my qualifying. I got only my first lap, so kind of disappointed in that, seeing as I really had the pace today. Just progressively through the race, took one another position. I didn't really try to go for the stage win because I know I had the pace, and obviously after the stage was done, we could then start race. And after the last pit stop, it's a bit sad. I was hunting down Sam, and unfortunately he got turned. I would have wanted to actually pass him for the win, but it is what it is. It's still a win.
Yeah, and just looking here at the driver's standings, this is going to do some pretty good work for you here with that victory, as well. Obviously, everyone behind you and a decent amount of the drivers in front of you having some not so great races today, or just not being here.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta be lucky, but I think most importantly today was just not making too many mistakes. It was very hard, like we saw with traffic, and just making as few mistakes as possible. It's what's gonna gain you the championship in the end, and definitely this win helps a lot, like you say, especially for qualifying through the next stages.
Yeah, exactly that. And, well, we can look back at this race all we like, but we've got to look forward at some point to Michigan International Speedway in 2 weeks' time. How are you feeling for 124 laps of that track?
I'd love to go for a back-to-back, but I'm a road course guy, as might be proven today. But I like the ovals. I do better every time, and my teammates are helping me a lot getting better. So hopefully at least a top 5.
Yeah, well, good luck for that one. And before we let you go and celebrate the P1, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, my dad for being so nice when lapping him, obviously, and then AMRT, my sponsor and the series sponsor as well, for all the help.
Yeah, well, congratulations, and we'll let you go and celebrate.
Also, my teammates, I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
All right, so that was Michael Haflidison, your your winner tonight, pardon me. And now to the third place finisher, Tony, is with Sam Hammerstedt.
Sam Hammerstedt, your best finish here in the Cup Series so far this season. Safe to assume that your season now starts now, trying to turn it around.
Yeah, it's a good finishing position, but I'm not that happy. I'm actually quite the opposite.
Understandable.
Yeah, I had the lead pulling away from Haflidason, and then I don't know what the lap guy was doing. My teammate just watched the replay, and I don't know if he missed his braking pedal or what, but he let me go first, went to the side, put on the brakes, let me go. I turned in toward the apex and just was spun around.
Yeah, that's got to be a heartbreaker right there. But the positives you can take away from tonight is, well, for starters, it's a road course. We know you're a road course ringer after what you did last week to the boys, but you do have pace. You have had pace all season. It's just trying to avoid other people's dumpster fires that seems to have been, what's been going on. But you were able to salvage. You kept your head about you today. Congratulations on your first podium of the season in the Cup Series.
Thank you.
A couple weeks from now, we do go to Michigan in the Cup cars. What are your thoughts going into the beautiful rolling Irish hills up there?
I have never actually driven on Michigan. I don't even know if it's a road course or oval or.
It's an oval.
It's an oval. Well, I still have some works to do on the ovals since I don't have very much experience from the ovals. So the pace is fine on the ovals. I just need to get my head around the strategies and how you think about the race.
Well, lucky for you, you've got two of the best in the Forza Esports team with Marcus Hagman and Linus Brostrom. I'm sure that both those gentlemen would be happy to help you get your oval prowess up to snuff.
Yes,
but
I'm sure they will.
We're going to let you go celebrate your first podium of the season in the Cup Series. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
Well, I have to thank my wonderful team and my teammates, and also our sponsors, Kappa Bar, Cooler Master, and Amabi Bilar, and of course also my parents, which I was told to thank as well. And
you always got to thank
that's
Mom.
correct. Yeah, of course.
All right, Sam Hammerstedt, congratulations. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Michigan.
See you then.
Frank, back to you.
Yep. So that will put a cap on what was a very fun race here tonight at Sonoma. And guys, I think this went about as well as you could have imagined with these road course guys taking these oval cars on a road course. It was quite a fun night.
Yeah, it absolutely was. We saw a lot of battling going on, but the biggest thing that we saw was there was a lot of respect being shown throughout the field. Guys weren't using everybody around them up to try to advance their position. There was a lot of give and take, especially early on, and I don't think we could have asked for a better road race. Jason?
Yeah, no, I think it was a pretty good one. It's obviously the traffic playing quite a big factor. I think a bit of a bigger factor than we may have been hoping for in the end. But hey, that's just kind of a part of road racing in the end. So that's how it goes. But great results at the end for a decent number of people, and especially looking at the plus 19 positions for Wilde Berlin and plus 20 for Jonas Forsch.
Absolutely a fun night here at Sonoma. Again, next week we'll be back in the GT3s. It will mark the halfway point of the season. They will be at Imola coming up next week, and then the next time we see these Cup cars, it will be for round number 4 of the season at Michigan. But before we get to those races, we will end here tonight. The final finishing results here for tonight: Michael Haflidason, Jesper Eriksson, and Sam Hammerstedt. We've heard from those 3 already coming home in the podium positions. Eric Blixt and Oscar Fredriksson rounding out the top 5. Gustav Jansson, Peter Helmbro, Jonas Gunnarsson, Daniel Holmer, and Alexander Arildsson making up the top 10. Vilda Whalen, Daniel Blomqvist, Kim Nyholm, Philip York, and Jochen Huet in the top 15. 16th goes to Kenneth Tier, Jonas Forss, Eric Lundberg, Marcus Stromberg, and Antoine Ehrmann rounding out the top half of the field, Jason.
Yeah, and then we got Stefan Wong in 21st, Pontus Nilsson, Bjorn Brostrom, Marcus Stiller, and Daniel Solo making up the top 25. Haflidi Johansson in 26th, Jonas Skogel in 27th, Philip Broberg 28th, Dennis Schupp 29th, and Robert Eriksson in 30th. Then Andre Silander, Johan Larsson, Tony Overton, Patrick Pfeffer, and Anton Bratberg making up the top 35. And then Rikard Allard, Bat Edin Ganbat, Robert Erling, and then Johan Hallberg rounding out the field today.
And that will do it for us here from Sonoma. For my broadcast partners, Jason Swafford and Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your day. We will see, all 3 of us will see you at Imola coming up next Thursday. Good night, everybody.